In a time long past, when the Roman Republic stretched its vast dominion across the lands, there lived a man whose name would echo through the ages, whispered among the rustling leaves of history. Spartacus, a Thracian by birth, was a name that would come to embody the spirit of resistance against the mighty Roman power. You might imagine the world in which he lived, a world where the sun rose over the Mediterranean, casting a golden glow upon the bustling streets of Rome, the heart of an empire that knew no bounds. It was a time when the clatter of chariots echoed through the cobblestone roads, and the scent of incense mingled with the sea breeze, wafting through the markets where merchants hawked their exotic wares. The Roman citizens, clad in their togas, moved with the rhythm of the day, unaware of the storm that would soon gather on the horizon. In the bustling amphitheaters, the roar of the crowd merged with the distant cries of gladiators, men who fought not for glory but for survival, their fates entwined with the whims of a merciless society. And so it was that Spartacus came to stand upon the sands of the arena, a gladiator in the truest sense, bound by chains both seen and unseen. His life, like that of many others, had been claimed by the Roman juggernaut, an empire that thrived on the subjugation of the many to serve the few. Yet within him burned a fire, a flame unquenchable, fueled by the dreams of freedom and the whispers of his ancestral homeland. Perhaps you can hear the distant clang of swords, the muted thud of shields meeting flesh, as Spartacus and his fellow warriors trained for the games, their bodies honed into instruments of war. Among them, there were those who shared his visions, men who saw beyond the confines of their captivity, yearning for the hills and valleys of their lost homes. In quiet corners and stolen moments, they spoke of rebellion, of casting off the yoke of their oppressors. It was a dream that seemed as fragile as the morning mist, yet it was a dream they held dear, a beacon in the darkness of their existence. Slowly, the murmurs of insurrection grew, spreading like the tendrils of a creeping vine. The plan to escape was as audacious as it was dangerous, a gamble with life as the stakes. In those quiet hours before dawn, when the stars still hung like distant lanterns in the sky, they seized their moment. Armed with crude weapons and the unyielding resolve of desperate men, they surged against their captors, breaking free from the confines that had long held them prisoner. The revolt, though born of necessity, quickly became a symbol of defiance, a rallying cry for those who had long suffered under the weight of Rome's iron grip. Spartacus emerged as their leader, not through force, but through the strength of his vision and the courage of his heart. Under his guidance, the uprising swelled, gathering strength as it moved like a gathering storm across the Italian landscape. Through the rolling hills and ancient forests, the rebellion spread, a testament to the power of hope and the human spirit's unbreakable will. Villages and towns, weary of the burdens imposed by their conquerors, saw in Spartacus a chance for liberation, and they rallied to his cause. The air was filled with a sense of possibility, a feeling as palpable as the earth beneath their feet. As they marched onward, their numbers growing with each passing day. Yet, in the midst of this tumult, there was always a quiet understanding among them, an awareness of the odds that stood against them. For the legions of Rome were vast and well-disciplined, and the wrath of the Republic was a force unmatched in its ferocity. But in those fleeting moments of peace, as they gathered around their campfires, their spirits lifted by the warmth of camaraderie, they dared to dream of a life beyond the chains. And so the legend of Spartacus began its journey across the annals of history, a tale woven with threads of valor, sacrifice, and the eternal quest for freedom. As the sun set over the distant hills, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, the echoes of their struggle lingered in the air, a gentle reminder of a time when hope dared to challenge the might of an empire. In those ancient days when the sun would gently rise over the Italian peninsula, casting its warm glow upon the sprawling landscape, the rhythms of life were woven with the threads of struggle and hope. Among the quiet hills and bustling marketplaces, there lay the heart of a legend that has endured through the ages, the story of Spartacus, the gladiator who dared to dream of freedom. As dawn broke, the first light danced upon the stone walls of the gladiatorial barracks, where Spartacus, alongside his fellow warriors, awoke to the sounds of another day. The air was cool and fresh, carrying with it the distant scent of olive groves and the faint brine of the nearby sea. Within these confines, life unfolded with a predictable cadence, a cycle of rigorous training, shared meals, and moments of quiet reflection. The barracks were a place where the clatter of steel and the murmur of voices formed a symphony that echoed through the corridors. Here, Spartacus and his comrades honed their skills, their bodies moving in synchrony with the commands of their trainers. The clash of wooden practice swords reverberated across the courtyard, a stark reminder of the battles that lay ahead. Each swing and parry was a testament to their resilience, to the unyielding spirit that refused to be broken despite the chains that bound them. As the sun climbed higher, the training would give way to a brief respite, a time for the gladiators to gather under the shade of ancient trees. Here, they would share stories and dreams, their laughter mingling with the rustling leaves. Spartacus, with his commanding presence and passionate voice, would often speak of a world beyond these walls, a world where the yoke of oppression could be cast aside, and where the dignity of a man might not be measured by his captor's whims. The day would continue, marked by the simple rituals of life in the barracks. Meals were a communal affair, where the gladiators would sit together, sharing food and camaraderie. The aroma of freshly baked bread and savory stews would fill the air, providing a momentary comfort that transcended their harsh reality. It was during these meals that bonds were forged, friendships that would be tested in the fires of rebellion. Yet beneath the surface of this daily routine, there simmered a quiet defiance, an undercurrent of resolve that united these men in a common cause. Spartacus, with his eloquent words and unwavering conviction, became a beacon of hope, a symbol of resistance against the tyranny of their Roman masters. And as the stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, the gladiators would gather once more, their voices lowered to whispers as they plotted their escape to freedom. In those quiet hours, Spartacus and his followers would speak of their homeland, of the families left behind and the lives they once knew. It was a tapestry of tales, woven from the diverse backgrounds of those who had found themselves in this place of captivity. Thracians, Gauls, and Germans, each brought their own stories, their own dreams of liberation, and together they painted a vivid picture of the world they longed to reclaim. Slowly, as the night deepened, the barracks would grow silent, save for the soft sigh of the wind through the trees and the distant call of nocturnal creatures. The gladiators, weary from their labors and their plans, would drift into slumber, their dreams filled with visions of a life unshackled by chains. It was in these moments of quiet reflection that the seeds of rebellion took root, nurtured by the shared belief in a future where the light of freedom would shine brightly upon them all. And so the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, each one bringing Spartacus and his followers closer to the fateful moment when they would rise as one. The legend of Spartacus was forged not only in the heat of battle, but in the simple, enduring rhythms of their daily lives. It was a story of courage and conviction, of men who dared to challenge the mightiest empire of their time in pursuit of a dream that refused to die. As the first light of dawn began to chase away the shadows, the barracks awoke once more to the sound of clanging swords and murmured conversations. Spartacus, with his unyielding spirit, stood among his brothers, ready to face whatever the day might bring. In the gentle glow of morning, the world seemed full of possibilities, and the dream of freedom shimmered like a distant star, just out of reach, yet achingly close. In this place where legends are born, the story of Spartacus lives on, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the unquenchable thirst for liberty. As the sun set on another day, the gentle rhythm of life continued, carrying with it the hope that one day the chains would be broken and the dream of freedom would become a reality. And so, in the quiet moments between the rising and setting of the sun, the legend of Spartacus took shape, whispered on the wind, a song of defiance and hope that has echoed through the ages. As you might imagine, the ancient stones of the barracks still seem to hum with the stories of those who once walked their corridors, their dreams woven into the very fabric of history. And in the distance, beyond the hills and the sea, the eternal promise of freedom lingers, like a gentle breeze that stirs the soul and beckons one ever onward. In the quiet dawn of the 1st century BC, as the mists slowly withdrew from the rugged landscape of the Italian peninsula, a profound tale was unfolding, a story whispered across the ages, echoing through the valleys where olive groves and vineyards adorned the hillsides. Here, in the heart of this storied land, the legend of Spartacus was born, a tale etched in the annals of history, carried by the winds over the ancient cobblestones of Rome and far beyond. You might imagine the soft light of morning spilling over the distant horizon, warming the earth and casting long shadows across the countryside. The air, fresh with the scent of pine and wild thyme, filled the lungs of those who walked these paths, and in the distance, the gentle sound of bells from grazing sheep provided a serene melody that accompanied the footsteps of travelers. In this landscape, where the mountains rose like sentinels guarding the secrets of time, there was a sense of permanence and continuity, an eternal dance between nature and man. As you wander through these ancient lands, you might hear the faint cry of a hawk soaring above, its wings slicing through the crisp air, or the distant murmur of a river carving its way through the valley, its waters glinting in the sun like liquid silver. It is here, amidst these natural wonders, that the story of Spartacus, the Thracian gladiator who dared to defy the might of Rome, finds its roots. In those quiet hours before the bustle of day began, the amphitheaters stood silent and empty, their stone arches and grand arenas a testament to the glory and the brutality of the age. These structures, built to endure the passage of time, were crafted from the very earth itself, limestone, marble, and sand, each stone telling a story of strength and endurance. The gladiators who trained within these walls knew well the texture of the sand beneath their feet, the weight of the armor upon their shoulders, and the relentless gaze of the spectators who filled the stands, their breath a collective whisper of expectation. The life of a gladiator was one of stark contrasts, a delicate balance between life and death, hope and despair. As you walk the pathways of Capua, the city where Spartacus and his fellow warriors honed their skills, you might feel the echoes of their training, the rhythm of their practice, the clang of metal upon metal, resonating like a distant memory. The scent of sweat mingled with the aroma of olive oil and the earthy fragrance of the arena, creating an atmosphere both vibrant and somber. As the sun climbed higher, casting its golden glow over the land, the roads leading away from the cities bustled with activity. Merchants and travelers made their way along these ancient routes, their voices blending with the sounds of nature, creating a symphony of life. The roads were lined with cypress trees, their tall, slender forms swaying gently in the breeze, their leaves whispering secrets of ancient times. On these very roads, Spartacus and his followers, a diverse band of freed slaves and disenfranchised souls, embarked on their epic journey. Their footsteps marked the soil, a testament to their determination and hope. Their path was one of liberation, a quest for freedom that resonated deeply with the oppressed and the downtrodden. As they moved through the land, their numbers grew, their strength multiplied, and their cause became a beacon of hope for those who longed for a world unshackled by the chains of servitude. The journey was arduous, the terrain unforgiving, yet the spirit of those who followed Spartacus was unyielding. They were driven by a vision of a future where they might walk freely under the same sky, toiling not for the glory of others, but for their own. The camaraderie among these rebels was palpable, a bond forged in the fires of adversity, strengthened by their shared purpose and the dreams they held close to their hearts. As the seasons changed, the landscape transformed with a grace that echoed the rhythms of their quest. The blossoms of spring gave way to the lush greens of summer, the fields alive with the hum of bees and the rustle of leaves. In the autumn, the vineyards turned gold and crimson, a tapestry of colors that mirrored the hopes and hardships of the journey. And as winter set in, the chill in the air was a reminder of the challenges they faced, yet the warmth of their unity served as a shield against the cold. The myth of Spartacus is one of endurance and resilience, a narrative that transcends the mere recounting of battles and skirmishes. It is a story that invites us to reflect on the human spirit, the courage to stand against insurmountable odds, and the power of unity in the face of adversity. As you listen to the distant echoes of history, the story of Spartacus unfolds like a tapestry woven with threads of bravery and hope, a legend that continues to inspire across the ages. In the quiet moments of evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky was painted with hues of rose and lavender, one could almost hear the whispers of the past carried on the gentle breeze. The glow of torches flickered in the gathering twilight, casting a warm and inviting light that danced upon the faces of those who gathered, their stories intertwining with the legend of Spartacus. And so, as you imagine the landscape of ancient Italy, the spirit of Spartacus lingers in the air, a testament to the enduring power of hope and the timeless quest for freedom. The gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of the nightingale, and the soft murmur of the earth beneath your feet all serve as reminders of a story that, though centuries old, remains alive within the very essence of the land. Slowly, as the night deepens, the sounds of the ancient world quiet, leaving you with a sense of connection to a past where dreams of liberty danced upon the winds. In the ancient world of the 1st century BC, where the whispers of the past intertwine with the echoes of legend, we find ourselves drawn into the tale of Spartacus. It is a time when the Roman Republic stands vast and powerful, its influence spreading like a tapestry across the Mediterranean. Yet beneath this grand expanse, there exists a world of complex human experiences, where the lives of ordinary people weave together with the extraordinary. In those quiet hours before dawn, the city of Capua, nestled in the fertile lands of Campania, begins to stir. Here, the air is filled with the scent of olive groves and the distant murmur of the sea, carrying with it the promise of another day. This is a world where the rhythm of life is dictated by the sun and the seasons, where each day brings its own blend of toil and brief respite. Among the bustling streets and crowded markets, there moves a diverse tapestry of souls, artisans, merchants, slaves, and soldiers, all bound together by the threads of Roman society. Amidst these bustling lives, the legend of Spartacus emerges, like a beacon of defiance and hope. Born in Thrace, a land of rugged hills and ancient forests, Spartacus is said to have been captured and sold into slavery, like so many others who found themselves caught in the web of Rome's expanding dominion. It is here, in the heart of Capua, that his story begins to take shape, within the walls of a gladiatorial school. The life of a gladiator is one of harsh routines and constant training, where survival depends on skill, strength, and the whims of the crowd. And so within the confines of this hard existence, Spartacus and his fellow gladiators forge bonds of camaraderie and resilience. In the evenings, as the shadows grow long and the din of the day fades, they gather around flickering torches, sharing tales of their homelands and dreams of freedom. You might imagine the sound of distant laughter mingling with the crackling of firewood, as visions of liberation dance in the smoke-filled air. Life in Rome, even beyond the arena, is a study in contrasts. While the elite indulge in lavish banquets and political intrigue, the common people navigate a world shaped by tradition and necessity. The streets are alive with vendors calling out their wares, the scent of freshly baked bread mingling with the earthy aroma of spices. The rich tapestry of Roman culture is on display in these daily rituals, where the mundane and the sacred coexist in a delicate balance. In this world, the institution of slavery is both omnipresent and deeply entrenched, a stark reality for countless individuals who labor under its weight. Yet within the confines of servitude, there exists a complex web of human relationships, some born of necessity, others of genuine connection. It is said that even the harshest masters may find themselves reliant on the skills and loyalty of their slaves, recognizing the humanity that binds them together. For Spartacus, the bonds of his fellow gladiators become a catalyst for change. As the days turn into weeks and the months slip quietly by, a plan begins to take shape, a daring escape from the chains that bind them. The dream of freedom, nurtured in the shadows of the arena, grows into a flame that cannot be extinguished. And so, one fateful night, the gladiators seize their moment and the revolt begins. As the revolt spreads across the countryside, the legend of Spartacus gathers momentum, drawing to its cause slaves and freemen alike, each driven by their own longing for liberation. In the rolling hills and hidden valleys, the rebels find refuge, their presence a symbol of resistance against the might of Rome. You might picture the rustle of leaves in the night breeze, the soft steps of those who march under the cover of darkness, united in their quest for a life free from bondage. For the Romans, the rebellion is a threat to their carefully ordered world, a challenge to the very foundations of their society. It is a time of uncertainty and fear, as the Senate debates and generals plot their strategies to quell the uprising. Yet for those who follow Spartacus, it is a time of hope, where the possibility of a new future glimmers on the horizon. As the seasons change and the revolt continues, the daily lives of those caught in its wake unfold like the pages of an ancient scroll. Farmers tend to their fields, artisans craft their wares, and the business of life carries on, even as the specter of conflict looms ever larger. In the bustling towns and quiet villages, stories of the rebellion spread, carried on the lips of travelers and whispered in the shadows of taverns. The legend of Spartacus becomes more than a tale of defiance. It is a reflection of the enduring human spirit, the unyielding desire for freedom that transcends time and place. It is a story that resonates through the ages, echoing in the hearts of those who have known the struggles and triumphs of the human condition. And so, as we leave behind the echoes of the past and the gentle murmurs of history, the story of Spartacus remains, a testament to the resilience of those who dared to dream of a world beyond the confines of their chains. In the quiet moments of reflection, as the sun sets over the ancient land, we are reminded of the power of hope and the enduring legacy of those who have walked this earth before us. In the hushed stillness of the pre-dawn hours, when the world seems suspended between darkness and the first hint of light, you might find yourself wandering the cobblestone streets of Capua. The city rests quietly, as if holding its breath before the day's labors begin. It is here in the heart of the Roman Republic that the legend of Spartacus begins to take shape, woven into the fabric of history by the whispers of those who have long since passed. The air is cool and carries the faint scent of the sea, mingling with the earthy aroma of olive groves that stand sentinel on the outskirts of the city. You can almost hear the gentle rustle of leaves as they dance in the early morning breeze, a prelude to the awakening of the day. In these moments of tranquility, the clamor of the arena feels distant, a mere echo of the fervor that will soon fill its walls. Spartacus, once a soldier, now a slave, lies in the quiet barracks, where the gladiators rest between their bouts. The flickering light of a single oil lamp casts long shadows on the stone walls, painting a picture of solitude and reflection. In the dim glow, the faces of men who have endured much are softened, their burdens for a moment forgotten. It is in these silent hours that Spartacus dreams of freedom, his thoughts a tapestry of past and future, woven with threads of hope and resolve. The Gladiator School, or Ludus, is a place of both hardship and camaraderie. Within its confines, men from diverse lands and backgrounds find themselves bound by a common fate. Their days are filled with rigorous training, the clang of weapons ringing out like a harsh symphony under the watchful eyes of their trainers. Yet, in the quiet moments, when the dust settles and the cries of battle fade into memory, there is a sense of unity among them, a shared understanding that transcends the chains that bind them. As the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of soft pink and gold, the city begins to stir. The marketplace awakens with the gentle hum of early risers setting up their stalls, the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the air. Life resumes its rhythm, yet within the heart of Spartacus beats the unyielding drum of defiance. It is in these still moments that the seeds of rebellion take root, nourished by the dreams of a man who dares to envision a world where freedom is not just a distant memory. In those quiet hours, conversations among the gladiators turn to tales of distant lands and lost homes, of families left behind and futures yet to be fought for. Around a small fire, they speak in hushed tones, their voices carrying the weight of ancient stories and shared experiences. Spartacus listens, his mind a repository of their hopes and fears, drawing strength from their shared resolve. It is as if the flames themselves whisper encouragement, flickering with the promise of change. The path of rebellion is fraught with uncertainty, yet in the stillness of these moments there is a clarity of purpose that transcends doubt. The bonds forged in the crucible of the ludus become the foundation upon which Spartacus will build his revolt. Slowly, as the morning unfolds, the gladiators prepare for another day, their movements deliberate and measured, as if each step is a rehearsal for the journey that lies ahead. And so the legend of Spartacus begins not with the clash of swords or the roar of the crowd, but with the quiet determination of a man who refuses to be defined by his chains. In the gentle light of dawn, when the world is still and the possibilities are endless, the seeds of a revolution are sown, nurtured by the dreams of those who long for freedom. As the sun continues its ascent, casting a warm glow over the land, the barracks come alive with the sounds of preparation. The men ready themselves for the day's trials, yet beneath the surface, there is an undercurrent of anticipation, a sense of purpose that binds them together. The legend of Spartacus is not just a tale of rebellion. It is a testament to the enduring spirit of those who dare to dream beyond their circumstances. In the days and weeks that follow, the quiet moments become the backdrop against which the drama of the rebellion unfolds. The whispers of the past guide Spartacus and his followers, their actions echoing through the corridors of history like a timeless melody. Each step they take is imbued with the weight of those who have walked before them, their legacy a testament to the power of the human spirit. Slowly, as the day gives way to night and the stars emerge to watch over the world once more, the city of Capua settles into a gentle slumber. The air is thick with the scent of jasmine and the distant murmur of the sea, a soothing balm that eases the weariness of the day. It is in these moments of quietude that the legend of Spartacus finds its enduring strength, a story of resilience and hope that continues to inspire across the ages. And so, as the gentle waves lap against the shores and the moon casts its silvery light across the land, the story of Spartacus is woven into the tapestry of time. It is a tale that speaks to the heart of what it means to strive for freedom, to dream of a world where justice and dignity are more than mere aspirations. In the serene beauty of the night, as the world drifts into peaceful repose, the legend of Spartacus endures, a quiet testament to the timeless quest for liberty. As the warm sun began its descent beyond the horizon, casting long shadows over the rolling hills of southern Italy, the tale of Spartacus, the legendary gladiator, found its place in the echoes of history. The air carried the subtle fragrance of olive groves and the distant murmur of the sea, whispering tales of an uprising that had stirred the heart of the Roman Empire. In those quiet moments, under the deepening sky, one might imagine the gentle rustling of leaves as a hymn to the enduring spirit of those who had dared to dream of freedom. Spartacus, a Thracian by birth, was more than a mere gladiator. He was a symbol of defiance and hope to those who labored under the yoke of servitude. In the ancient amphitheaters, where the roar of the crowd sang the praises of might and valor, he had learned the brutal art of combat. But it was not the thrill of victory that sparked his rebellion. Rather, it was the unyielding desire to break the chains that bound him and his fellow captives. And so it was, in the shadows of Capua, that the fire of insurrection was kindled, its embers carried by the winds of change. As night fell, the memories of the revolt lingered like a distant melody, a reminder of the courage and sacrifice that marked its course. The slave army, growing in strength and numbers, moved like a river through the Italian landscape, a force both unstoppable and unpredictable. Their journey was one of hardship and uncertainty, yet it was also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They passed through verdant valleys and rugged mountains, leaving behind a trail of hope and fear in equal measure. In time, the struggle reached its inevitable crescendo, a clash of wills beneath the vast canopy of the heavens. Though the dream of liberation flickered like a solitary flame in the night, its light reached far and wide, illuminating the darkness of oppression. The Roman legions, disciplined and relentless, sought to quell the uprising, bringing with them the cold logic of empire. Yet, even in defeat, the story of Spartacus remained etched in the annals of history, a saga of bravery and the eternal quest for freedom. As the last echoes of battle faded into the soft murmur of history, one could sense the gentle passage of time smoothing the rough edges of the past. The fields that once bore witness to the clash of swords returned to their quiet vigil, nourished by the rhythms of the seasons. In this serene landscape where the earth held its secrets close, the legend of Spartacus continued to inspire those who yearned for justice and the right to determine their own destiny. And so, in the gentle embrace of twilight, the story of Spartacus came to rest, woven into the fabric of myth and memory. The stars emerged, one by one, to watch over the land that had borne witness to his struggle. As the night deepened, the distant sound of waves upon the shore mingled with the soft rustle of the breeze, a lullaby for the ages. In this quiet hour, the legacy of Spartacus lived on, a beacon of hope for all who dared to dream of a world free from the chains of tyranny.